Good morning, guys. So today I'm going to be continuing with the preparations for electrical and plumbing running to the garage. So this will be I think this is part 3 in that video series, which is still, I guess, kind of some boring stuff, but that's where I'm at, and I'm going to keep moving forward with it. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like. All right, so back to this plumbing and trenching. As you can see, I've started to cover this up, which was the fill line and then the drain line. Well, what will eventually be the drain line. Right now there's a valve there. It's just closed. It's running across, and then it's also capped right here. This one, of course, is done. So now I'm just waiting to get all of my piping going this way under the sidewalk into the underneath of the house. What I decided to do, I was trying to dig out underneath the concrete there, but it's been pretty difficult. So I actually picked up a masonry saw blade. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a section out of the sidewalk there. I'm going to run the piping in there, and then I'll put it back, because I was worried that even if I was able to dig that out completely, I'm not going to be able to fill it in solid around the piping once the piping's in there. So I'm going to cut that piece, maybe a foot or so wide, 10 inches, just enough for me to kind of dig in there, put the piping in, and then I'll fill it and then put the piece of concrete back. And I could even get some mortar or masonry glue and to put that piece back in. We'll see how it goes back in. As far as the piping, Home Depot finally had the 2-inch electrical conduit, which is this gray conduit here. So that will be for the power that eventually will run between the house and the garage. And then I have a couple 45s and a 90, this is a long 90. So this long 90 will actually be under the house. So if I can get this, well, it's not really going to stand up, but basically this part here will be coming out of the trench, and then that will go up and it'll get mounted to, I'm going to build a little frame piece under the house. And then that's where all this piping will get mounted to. So that'll be, like a solid point for everything to go in and out of this piping. And then, of course, everything will get connected, run down here, and then backfilled. And eventually this will actually have concrete poured over it. So the plan is, once we get the slab poured in the carport here, we will have additional concrete poured here, so that there's actually a sidewalk going to where the garage will be. It's nice to see all the bees pollinating the pigeon pea. Oh, Cokie frog under the trash can. You know where you're going, buddy. They never want to share. So just an update on the girls. The little ones are getting settled in. You can see them over there on the steps. They're doing okay. They're eating. They're out foraging. So I think they'll do good. The big ones are not messing with them too much. There's one of these, which I can never figure out which one it is because they all look the same. It does chase them a little bit, but once I get bigger, I think that'll stop. So, why are you so talkative? Didn't you eat enough stuff today? Always so hungry. Got a couple eggs here. The papaya are doing really good. Getting big. Once they get a little bit taller, then I'll take this temporary fencing down. There's the little girls. 2.5 months roughly. Doing good though. Another thing I wanted to show was over here behind the coop. I had put in some vetiver grass. So there's 3 rows here. The top row you can kind of just barely see there. So as I've been cycling the bedding out of the coop, I put it around the vetiver as a kind of a mulch. So I have 2 rows, well 3 rows. I have 1 row up here, which kind of blends in with the weeds. Another row here, and then just 4 plants here. So these will eventually grow out, and then I could use them to spread around the farm. I don't know why you guys are following me. I don't have food for you. Okay, that's it. Just wanted to do an update on the chickens. I've also been letting the dogs in here under careful watch. Hati, knock it off. Just to try to get them used to the chickens. Because eventually, once we have the yard fenced in fully, I'd like to be able to just let them wander and not have to worry about these 2 attacking them. Hati! He still gets a little spastic because, you know, he's only about a year old now. So if something runs, he wants to play with it. But I'll keep working on that. Why are you guys following me? So we'll see how they do. Once these new hens get bigger, I won't be so concerned about them. Because these ones will actually kind of, they don't really charge the dogs, but they'll stand off. You see that one's over there checking Hati out as much as Hati's checking them out. So hopefully they all get along. We'll see. Pheasant. That's a pheasant coming up to the chicken coop trying to get some seed. That's kind of funny. All right, so this is where I'm at on this. I picked up a masonry saw blade. So I'm going to put this on my saw, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting 2 cuts in here. So I'm basically going to follow that seam for one of the cuts, and then I'm going to go about 12 inches over, and I'm going to do another cut. Hopefully this works. I guess I'll find out as I'm cutting it. And that way it's going to open up this section so I can dig it out. I'll remove this piece of lattice and I'll get under there and dig that out a little. And then I'll start building the framework to attach all of this conduit and then start running it out. And then that way I can get this piece put back in and start getting this filled back in. Whew. So that was super dusty. All right, so that saw blade worked pretty well. But of course, one thing I noticed immediately is it was not cutting deep enough to go through this whole slab. So if you can see the cuts here, it only went about 2 inches or so, maybe just over 2 inches. And the slab is 3.5, something like that. So I think what is going to happen now, just because I don't want to have to go rent a cement saw, you know, something with like a 12-inch blade, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break this out, and then when I have everything done, I will just pour concrete back in place and fill this in. So that'll be a quick, easy job. You know, just put 2x4 on either side, pour it. I mean, that's like a bag, maybe a bag and a half of ready mix concrete. So I think that's most likely what's going to happen. I'm going to get this piece of lattice pulled off so I can get the cuts the rest of the way through there. And then we'll keep moving. Run, little buddy. I have my cuts all the way through. I have the lattice removed. I have the cross support removed that was here, just so we can get a view of what's in here. So this white PVC here is my incoming line. So that is the one that's here. It runs along the yard here and then down the sidewalk along the house. So this one is going to get changed over to the new one that I ran, which comes across here, and then it will be going down to this trench. And then basically it'll just be a 90 that goes right there. So that'll tie into the incoming water. This pipe up here is actually the water coming out of the pump house that's gone through the filter system and the UV light. So this is the inlet water going into the house. So my water lines that I'm going to tie into are going to come off of this line here. So I'm basically going to just add in 2 T's, and I think that I may even run them outside of the lattice, put a valve on it, and then run it back into the lattice. And then it's going to go down the conduit that I'm running. So that is going to be, there will be 2 PEX water lines coming off of this line. And one of them is going to run to a hose bib that's going to be on the corner of the shed there. And then the other one is going to run over to the garage. And they will be 3/4 inch PEX lines. So that'll get water out to the corner of the shed and also to the garage. So that's the 2 lines I'm planning on running. Now this pipe down here is the sewer pipe. So this is basically all the drains for everything in the house. It goes underground right here, probably cuts across the sidewalk, and then goes to the cesspool, which is in this area here where these plants are. This is where the cesspool is. So eventually down the road, that is going to have to be filled in, and a septic system will have to be put in. But I think with the current law, it doesn't have to be done until 2050. So we have some time. But then that'll be, you know, at a later date, we'll maybe tackle that someday. But for right now, I'm going to get this piece removed. I guess I'm going to just take the sledgehammer and start to break it up just to get this exposed so that I can get this dug out a little and start getting everything laid into here. And then I will build I'm basically going to just come off of this frame piece here. I'm going to add in a couple 2x4s vertically, and then a horizontal piece, and then that's where all of my incoming piping and conduit pieces are going to attach to. And then they're going to come down underneath and then go out, and then that way all of this can get filled in. And for right now, the stuff going to the garage is going to just go to about right here, and it's going to just stop until I get closer to the point where I'm able to actually run it and bury it, and then get it to where it's going to be where the garage will be. Man, that was some work. So that's all the broken up pieces. I started doing this using my sledgehammer, which is just an 8-pound sledge. I actually use that when I'm smithing, when I need to really move some metal. So it's a regular sledgehammer with the handle just cut short. And then I switched over to my hammer drill with the chisel bit to break up the last part, because the backside of the concrete here was actually really thick. So trying to do it with the hammer just wasn't working. But everything is cleared out now, so I can start figuring out how everything is going to run in here and how it's going to mount. Okay, so I have my piping run in here, or conduit. So this essentially is going to be everything that's going to be run right here. So this white PVC is going to be connecting to the line that goes for the water inlet to the pump. This 2-inch gray PVC, which is the electrical PVC conduit, that will be for the power cables that will go between the house and the garage. This 1/2-inch gray PVC is going to be for Ethernet cable, and then this black ABS is going to be for the water lines. So I'm not actually running water through this. This is just a pipe, and then I'm going to be running 3/4-inch PEX lines inside of here. So that's a 2-inch, 1/2-inch, 2-inch, and 1 1/4. So all of that is going to come up through here. I'm going to build some kind of little framework to mount everything to, and then we can start getting the stuff run and glued together. And then I could go ahead and complete the, let me stand up here. I could go ahead and complete the water line because it's just capped right there. It's already buried here, and then you can see right there, the blue handle of the valve is where it's coming up. So this line here that's going into the catchment tank will just get moved over to here. This will get connected from there, get tied into here, and then everything will be complete for the water. All right, I have cut and moved over the pipe there for the water line, and I have my water line completely rerouted now. Everything is plumbed in and my water is back on. So what I ended up doing down here, because I was coming right across the bottom, I basically just did a 90 up, a 90 over, and then a 90 to a 90, and then it comes here, and that's what goes into the pump. So all this will be behind the lattice, but I needed to move this out of the way so that this other conduit and piping can go through this area here. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to continue with these. So I have all of these run. The 2 electrical conduits, the 1 ABS, and then of course the PVC for the water that I already showed. All this is just temporarily taped up right there, and everything is capped. I have a cap on the ABS pipe. I just have electrical tape on the 1/2-inch conduit, and I have a rag in the 2-inch conduit. Everything is connected. The 1/2-inch conduit only goes out to here so far because I'm still waiting for that to be back in stock at Home Depot. Everything else is run down to that point, and then it's capped. Because I still have to break up a little bit of rocks, because these are actually going to end up running underneath that cross pipe there. So all that's going to go that way, so I got to dig that out a little bit more, and then I'll extend it past that pipe, and then I can start filling all this in. One thing that I wanted to note was you have all these different pipes and conduits. They all have different glue. So this is gray PVC cement for the electrical conduit. You have black ABS cement for the ABS piping, and then you have the red hot blue for the standard PVC piping. So just make sure that you use the right one if you're doing something similar to this. But right now I'm gonna call it a night. It's getting later, and then I will continue work on this tomorrow or the next day, but that'll be like a second for you guys. All right, this is going to be my mounting bracket to mount all of these lines to. So basically what I did is I just made this so that it will go wrap around the 4x6 that's under there, and it's going to hang down, and then I have my clamps that I'm going to put here for the pipe and conduit that's going to be coming up. All right, I have this installed with just one screw holding it, and then basically I'm checking the level. Not that it really matters that it's level, but that's how it's going to be mounted. So there's going to be 2 screws on each of these, and then on the back side, same thing. And then I have my face here that I'm going to mount the piping to. So the 2-inch electrical conduit is actually going to go on the back side of this, and then my 2-inch water and my 1/2-inch electrical are going to go on the front side. Okay, here is a shot from the inside. Still level. And I said if I ever had to come under here again, it would be too soon. I still feel the same way. All right, let me get this mounted. All right, so the 2-inch electrical conduit is now mounted. I put it kind of low because when I actually get to the point that I'm going to run electrical in here, I may end up mounting a breakout box right here, just to have some kind of a, connection, because I don't know yet how it's going to run, if it's going to go to the breaker box or if it's going to go to the electrical panel, that's coming into the house. So we'll have to see once I get to that point, but this is pretty much done. So now I got to get those other two mounted on the other side. Okay, these two are now mounted on there. So now I'm able to put this back together, put that support piece back on, put the lattice back on fully. I'm going to start backfilling this, and then might as well pour some concrete and get this filled in. Okay, so that is that. This is done. I will clean this up a little bit, and I will, edge the sides here so that it matches the existing slab. Of course, you're going to be able to see there's a patch there because this concrete is worn. Someday I might resurface all of this concrete just so it looks the same. But that is it for this. I am still waiting for the 1/2-inch conduit, which is, where'd it go? I think it's buried in here. Or it's underneath this one. Anyway, I'm still waiting for the 1/2-inch electrical conduit. Home Depot still doesn't have it in stock, so right now I'm in a holding pattern. So I'm probably going to end this video here just because I don't know when that's going to come in. And I know this video is getting on the long side already, and this is already pretty boring stuff. So I will probably, once that comes in, I will finish this out and run everything down to the end. And right there is where it's going to sit, basically until I'm ready to even start on the garage. The only other thing that'll happen is the black water line will break off right here, and I will add a hose bib right here on the corner of the shed. But that will probably just all be on the next video. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, that is going to wrap up this video. This is part 3 of the garage shop build. And like I said in the previous videos, this is going to be a long road, so I am not sure when I will have another video in this series. And actually, I'm sort of running out of projects right now. Well, running out of money, actually. So I'm not sure what my next project will be exactly. It may have something to do with fencing, because I know that's one of the next things we're going to be working on, to try and get this yard fenced in. So anyway, thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I would appreciate it. And I will see you guys on the next video. Aloha.